Hey you guys, welcome back. Today is another repotting day and I'm excited for this one. This is one that has been neglected for a little while. Like I said in past videos, I had a big pest infestation in my orchids and they were just out of control. So I lost interest, lost motivation, and finally I'm starting to regain control. It's been years. The bugs, I think I've said it before, I'll say it again. The bugs were kind of in hiding and they would come out when the plant came into spike and flower. So I thought I had everything under control, but then the buds would come up and then they would either blast before they would open, or they would open up and they'd be covered with mealybugs or whatever, and they were just deformed and they would die prematurely, and it was just very frustrating. That my Phalaenopsis didn't bloom for the longest time. It was so crazy. So anyway, this here is a Maxillaria variabilis. Has a cute little white flower. It hasn't flowered in years. I have been neglecting it, like I said, but as you can see, there's so many little bulbs in this pot. It needs to get transplanted. This little guy likes a bright, indirect location. I guess more on the bright side, but sheltered, if you grow it outside, sheltered from maybe the harsh midday sun, but it does like some full sun. So indoors, as bright as you can get it, unless of course you have a greenhouse, might need a little bit of a shelter there. So it also likes to be evenly moist. It doesn't like to dry out fully. That's my mistake. I've let this dry out several times for long periods of time, and it still looks good. The pseudo bulbs in there are still nice and plump. They're not wrinkled. But they're such a good resilient plant. If you can ever find a Maxillaria variabilis, it's a nice compact plant, and well, this isn't a good representation. It should have more leaves on it, but it's a nice grassy plant. And the flowers grow tight to the plant, so you might not be able to see them if you got a really lush plant. In this particular instance, because there's fewer leaves, I should be able to see a nice show when it decides to bloom. So we're going to give this a new pot. Well, I'm going to divide this out. I've got some smaller, I believe these are 3-inch plastic pots, and I've got little domes if they'll fit on top after the transplant is done. I don't know that it will, depending on the leaf situation. If I can, I will. If I can't, that's okay too, but the option is there if it's a viable option. So anyway, yeah, we'll rip this apart, we'll divide it out. I want to put a bigger clump in the same pot, but we're going to divide out all kinds of babies. So this one should be fun. So let's get to it. Okay, so here's the Maxillaria variabilis, and as you can see, we've got all kinds of the pseudo bulbs in here. It is just absolutely crazy. Let's pull it out of its pot. Looks like the roots are in there. They're just a mass of little roots, and I don't see any flowers. I wish that there was some flowers to show you. Anyway, maybe I'll show you again what the flowers look like. I showed you in a previous video, but I'll show you again. They're just cute little yellow things, and I'm not sure whether this particular one is fragrant. Some of them are, some of them aren't. So with my soil that I'm going to be using, or my medium that I'm going to be using, it is going to be coconut chunks, coconut chips or husk, and some orchid bark, or this is just, it's like a medium fir bark. I actually buy it as Repot by the bag from the pet store. It's a better deal for the pet store. So I'm just going to mix that up. I'm using the coconut husk or chunk as more of a moisture holder, and then the bark as more of a let the water drain through freely. The chunks of coconut husk, they stay moist longer. So that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for some moisture retention when it comes to this. You might have your own special mix, but this is what I'm going to be using. Let me know in the comment section below what you like to use for your orchids, whether it's Maxillaria or not. I guess Maxillaria would be best because that's what we're transplanting. So anyway, yeah, there we go, all nice and mixed up. I might actually throw a little bit of slow release fertilizer in there because I have it here. Why not? I will be fertilizing as I water occasionally. They do like to be watered on a monthly basis, in the summertime on a bi-weekly basis, or even weekly. So a little bit of slow release fertilizer is not going to hurt it in there. It'll only benefit it. So let's go in here. I'm just going to slowly start to break this apart. I'm sure there's a lot of dead roots in here from drying out too much. It's always hard to find a spot to start when it comes to opening up a pot. And then I'm going to be trying to find, well, that was a voice crack. I'm going to be trying to find a natural division in this. And I want to get a couple of smaller plants, so maybe I can tuck them into my planters outside. I thought it might be a fun addition to the planters to add a little bit of an orchid feel to it. Trying to, like, these are jammed in there. I don't know what I had used for medium. It's been many years. I'll have to go back through my videos and see what I had used. This is a glass product that is a perlite-like thing. I forget what this is called. I have more of it downstairs. I like it. It's rough like perlite. It's bigger and it doesn't break down, and it's a recycled glass product. My goodness. These roots are just matted in here. Oh, I should have repotted this ages ago. I'm not going to be able to save. Roots are going to regrow. You can be really gentle with things, or you can manhandle. Obviously better to be gentle, but sometimes if you don't have a whole day to go through here, the plant will survive, roots will regrow. Don't beat yourself up over things. I gotta try to figure out where this will divide. I could take pseudobulbs from these extended pieces here and start to root those. Maybe I'll try one or two and have the little terrarium top on there. The little, like I said, I'm gonna put some in these black pots, and they came from Amazon with these cute little greenhouse lids. So they're great for propagation. They just fit on there just like that. They're fantastic. There we go. We're starting to get some headway here through all the roots. I'm just going to toss away any of these dead bits. I might have to get a knife and cut. This just broke away. Some of these things I might not keep, but I'll keep the best pieces. The plant is so big. Oh my goodness. Look at all the pseudobulbs in here. It's crazy. There we go. Like I said, it's going to regrow. It's going to divide. It'll probably do much better now that it has some space. Sure, I'm going to get some flack out there for the way that I'm pulling things apart, but it's all right. This plant's been through the ringer. Just going to... It's best to use some sterilized utensils for cutting. Just wipe them down with some rubbing alcohol or some peroxide, or use fire, or whatever works best for you. Here's another dead bit. This plant is old. It's well, not old, but it's at least 7 or 8 years old. Might try to root one of these. Let's cut this back a bit. Some of the oldest ones I'll toss, but like this little guy, I'll see what he does. Put that with a little dome on top, see if they root. This one I'm just going to cut off. Oh, it looks so good. Okay, this one I'm going to remove. And I like it better already. It has a airier vibe to it. I like the look of it better. I think this one I'm just going to leave the way that it is. I think so. So I am just going to move all of this garbage stuff off to the side. If you don't have one of these tabletop tarps, I do recommend them very much. I think that they're phenomenal. Keeps the mess under control, and they're not sponsored. I just really like them. I've had them for years. In previous videos, people were asking about it. What is it? And it's called a tabletop tarp. I found this particular green one at the dollar store, so don't spend an arm and a leg on it. Just watch for good prices. So I'm just going to add a little bit of soil or medium to the bottom of this pot. This is already pre-moistened, so I'm not going to water it in right away. Any roots that I have damaged, because I have damaged some, I want them to callus over before I water again. And there might be some dead roots in there. I can't tell what is dead and what is not. So I'm just going to keep everything on there. And this is going to go back in the same pot that I took everything from, and we're going to pot up the other ones in different pots. So I'm just going to add the mixture around the root ball. Where I can, it's good to fan the root ball out so it's not all in a clump down in the base. But this one, sorry, I went off camera. The root ball is pretty well contained. If you're able to fan yours out, I would do that. Again, these guys like to be in a bright location, protected from, if you have really intense sun, protect from the hot midday sun, and they like to be evenly moist. Most of the time, dry down slightly, but mostly moist, and in the wintertime, dry out a little bit more. Look at the new growths. The new growths are here. I've recently started watering it more frequently. I pulled it out from behind all of the other plants, and now that I'm paying attention to it, I'm starting to see new growth again. So that's fantastic. I hope soon I can update you with some blooms. That would be really, really nice. I just want to get in here and see if there's any of these roots that I can just pull away. They're so fine. Oh my gosh. They're just a matted ball. So many of you are probably getting so frustrated right now watching me or cringing, watching me go through this quickly. Here we go. What a cute little bunch. What are your thoughts? Oh, it's adorable. So when I'm putting these in the pots here, I want to make sure that the medium goes up to about this level here. I don't want it to be deeper than it was, but I don't want it to, I want it to kind of maintain its level. So this one has a big root ball, so I'm not going to be able to, these pots aren't terribly deep. So I'm just going to put a little bit down in the bottom. And then I'm going to pop that in there. And then we're going to fill it in here. You want to make sure it's firmed in, but you don't want it like concrete. You want it so that the water can still pass through easily. You want airflow. Sorry, I went off camera again. You want airflow in there to the roots. I'm trying to see as well as do this. I'm so used to doing it on my own. I should know better. I film repottings all the time. I used to do it more often, but then I wanted to enjoy my plants more. I enjoy repotting. And when you feel like you got to set up a camera and all that stuff, it kind of takes the joy away from it. So here we go. You don't need to watch all of this. Let's do, you don't need to watch this again. I'm going to pot up this one. Just gonna give it a pot full of stuff. You could use some sphagnum moss in this instance to encourage some root development. I'm just gonna nestle it right in there. I want to make firm contact with the medium there, with the bark. And then I'm gonna get one of my little terrarium lids that came with the things. I'm just gonna put it like this in a nice, warm, bright spot. And let's check back in on this in a bit of time and see if they start to develop some roots and some leaves. I'm really excited to see how this goes. And then I've got another one here. This little guy fell off and he looks, he or she or they looks so good. Oh, it looks so pretty. So this one's gonna get a pot as well. Looks like I'll have to make up some more potting medium. So this one here, I don't think I can add the lid. I think that it's a little bit too, you know what? I'm just gonna cut back this leaf so I can stick this on. It's not necessary to have this on, but there we go. It's so cute in there. I just made sure that the bulb had, the pseudo bulb had some contact with the soil or the potting medium. And that's it. Super exciting. Went through the care of these guys. I do recommend them a lot. They're such a fun plant. And like you can see, these have been dry for quite some time. I lost the leaves, but the bulbs, that's what they're there for. They're there to protect the plant in a time of dryness. So they're not shriveled up and they're doing just fine. So that's very important. If these were shriveled up, then you would know that they went for too long without being watered and they've been using up the reserves, but there you go. It prefers to be evenly moist. So anyway, until next time, you guys, happy growing. I'd love to see photos of your Maxillarias if you have some. Mine look like garbage because, like I said earlier, neglect. But I'm gonna start taking a little bit more time and looking after these guys again. So I'd love to see photos of yours and let me know what your favorite variety is. I know that there's a bunch. Some of them even have wider leaves, which is cool. And I love that the bulbs, the pseudo bulbs, stack on top of one another. That's such an interesting feature. So anyway, until next time, you guys, happy growing. Oh, look at this one. Look at this one. I love this plant. Soon it's going to fill this pot up. Anyway, that's enough. That's enough. Happy growing, everyone.